area and is the most isolated area. Thank God, perchance we are qualified to go to the African Cup of Nations. And how best are we ready to help our national team to go there, not only as a spectator, but to make a tremendous impact. And if possible, to come out with a trophy. And it's another environment where somebody can exhibit their skill for future professional contracts. Because you have a lot of scouters that will be coming to look at them. So these are problems where we have a lot of good players in the Gambia and they are not given the right environment to help them develop their skills and connect them to the rest of the world. We heard of Sadio Mane, what he's doing. He's just behind from us here. Right away, just at the back of my constituency. He has built schools, he has built hospitals, and he's coming to build another hospital. Thanks to this football, because the environment is created by the Senegalese government. They build a lot of renowned academies, where you want to bring these youths together, help them, since they have taken, not every individual is academically sharp in class, notwithstanding you have a skill to survive. That skill can be any of the sporting disciplines. How are we ready to invest into this area? Not only by mere of talking. You only bring in ministers or only for the sake of compensation, because the area is not adequately resourced. So these are the type of things that we need to improve upon to make sure that we bring the youth sector to that aspect. And I want to relay this also to the aquaculture aspect of it. As a country, are we not ready to invest into vessels? Let us bring in vessels. Train our youth to go into these areas. These are another problem because it's going to be a source of income and a source of protein for the entire country. How can we leave our entire fishing industry to be managed and controlled by almost 70% of 70% foreigners, when we have the potential to invest in that area? So these are the things that we need to look at it as a government, not entirely leaving the whole responsibility with the minister alone. This has to be a priority. So that's the dimension in which I want to put to the attention of the cabinet, to make sure that they give maximum attention to the industry, so as to add it to that of agriculture and tourism, to create jobs for the youths in this country. On that note, Madam Speaker, I want to take my seat.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Fonyi Brevet. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Speaker, I have 4 issues that I want to bring to the attention of the executive. And Madam Speaker, to begin with is the issue of road accidents. This issue has been repeatedly mentioned here by myself, humble self, on many occasions, and I will continue to advocate for it. Hence, road accident is a cross-cutting issue, and it affects everybody. The Ministry of Works and Interior, respectively, were visited by myself, and we had some discussion with regards to the issue of constant accident taking place in my constituency in particular, and the South Bank in general. And there were some plans between these 2 ministries to begin the construction of speed humps in a bid to mitigate road accidents. However, up to date, no sign of it has been seen. And following my consultation with 2 ministries, I was informed they are putting their heads together and planning. And the accidents are not waiting, and they continue. And I want to ask, for how long should they continue to plan when these lives are taken unnecessarily by irresponsible drivers? I have some volunteers in my constituency who are more than the world willing to contribute. In fact, a gentleman in my constituency said, ask the government to give me the design. How they want it done, we will contribute. But up to date, actually, I've not get any meaningful feedback. But just to put it together, the more they delay, the more they plan, the more lives are taken. The roads are very, very important. But if they turn into a booby trap, a death trap, that is of no use to the population. So I want to the government look at this with serious urgency. If the construction of the said ribbons will be very expensive, let them devise a mechanism where the speeds will be checked and drivers will limit their speeds as they enter towns and cities to minimize these deadly roadside accidents. Madam Speaker, the second issue I would like to bring to the attention of National Assembly, I think that affects all of us. Traffic congestion. In this country, wherever you go, there is this traffic congestion. And I don't know, I ask myself, are we not aware or conscious of the effects of traffic congestion? Because it has effects on our economy. It causes a lot of lateness to work, lateness to meeting. If you take a calculator and calculate how many people go to work late, and you calculate the number of minutes late against our salary, and you calculate, that will run into millions. So it appears we are not conscious of the effects of traffic congestion to our economy. So the fundamental question I want to ask, the ministry responsible transport would like to share with us, do we have any short-term, medium-term, or long-term plan to address the issue of traffic congestion in this country, which is becoming a nightmare? Just from Brikama, it takes nothing less than 2 hours to get to Banjul from Brikama. And when you close from 4, just to get to Brikama, it takes you additional 2 or 3 hours to get to your house. This has become very annoying, very frustrating. So the responsible portfolios actually need to look into this issue and see what will be planned to I know we cannot completely erase it, but we can mitigate it. I don't need to tell them how. They should know better, provide the creation of bypasses that will help in mitigating this said menace. Madam Speaker, I would like to, the third issue, congratulate the government of the day. I was understand, and I got the information that brand new tractors were purchased. Congratulations to the government. But I'm quite sure of the mode of distribution, because all those brand new tractors drove past my constituencies, and I've did my findings, and I also given information whether my constituency will benefit. So this is a real cause for concern, and other constituencies as well, because I think the Yominkas will teach us that we are not farmers. We are great farmers equally. But then the issue of tractors has been a major issue in our area. There's limited tractors in my constituency, and the cost of plowing is becoming increasingly very, very high beyond the means of an average farmer. So that also has a negative effect on the farming community. So I want to appeal to the Minister of Agriculture to consider my constituency as well, so that we can also have a tractor. But the member for Tumana has said it, the issue of this mixed farming, they are so important. I remember when I was young, farmers go there, will be trained, and they look at a lot of instructions. So they become very, very important in the farming. But of late, these farming mixed services have died down completely. And the Minister of Agriculture at one point and said, okay, last year, okay, it's not in the budget, but in the 2021 budget, it will be there, and then your constituency mixed farming center will be part of those that will be replicated. I know it has a good intention, but of the day, I'm not seeing it, and then that will seriously have impacts on the farming community in my area. Madam Speaker, the last issue, once again, actually, I want to commend the Minister of Mohas, Higher Education, for doing quite well to ensure that the much talked about this Ndemban Multi-Purpose Skill Center rehabilitation is almost complete, and he expects to open it in September. And according to my observation, things are going according to plan. And they also intend to put up some structures for accommodation, which is also going well. So I want to commend the government through the Minister of Higher Education for considering that magnificent building. The building has been there for so many years, and one point in time it started falling apart because it was not taken care of. But with this intervention, things are going according to plan. I want to take on this opportunity on behalf of the people of Fonyi Berefet and the youth of the region as well to commend the government through the Minister of Higher Education for doing quite well to ensure this edifice or this institution is complete, so that they will be, youth of my area will be given the opportunity, as our counterparts in other areas where these skill centers are available, so that they can also learn skills and give back to the country. A member of Tuman has said it actually, and I really support that. The youth are so important to us. Well, how do we empower them? How do we make sure that they stay in this country? Let's give them what belongs to them. Let's empower them. Then they'll become responsible leaders, and they'll take their position in the socio-economic development of this country. On that, Madam Speaker, I want to thank you very much, and thank all my colleagues for listening, Honorable Executive. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Seka, nominated member. Seka, thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma. I would like to start my debate by saying that this country belongs to all of us. Whoever, whatever, whenever, wherever, it belongs to us. And if we destroy this country, we will destroy ourselves, and we will leave a very bad legacy. I think it is high time for all of us to start advocating for peace. That thing we call priceless, that thing that makes us stand here to talk. If there was no peace today, nobody will stand here to talk. And what has started, even before we were born, up to now, I think is what we need. We don't need any new strategy that will jeopardize the peace that Allah the Almighty bless us with in this, our motherland, the Gambia. Since then, when I was going to school, I heard people saying the smiling coast of West Africa. But now I think it's the crying coast of West Africa. Look at what is happening. Example, I was the leader of a house, and I built some things very, very good, and somebody comes again and want to destroy everything. Where are we heading to? If you destroy what we built in more than 1 decade, and Allah made you to stay here on only 5 or 3 years, God forbid, because you don't own yourself. Maybe before the end of my 3 years, my time does not elapse, God can take me. Look at what was happening. You sit and drink or eat with somebody, before daybreak, you hear that that person has gone. Are we not thinking in that way? Are we not thinking in that way? That we cannot do everything. But let us try and do something that is good, so that it will be a good legacy for us. When we do something, all of us will know that this is good. But when we do something bad as well, people will say this is bad, even in your presence. But in your absence, it will be worse. Because even what you do not do, people would not like to see you. And they will say so many bad things about you, even those bad things that you didn't do, because of your one bad thing that you did. So I think I will start my debate by bringing this to all of us, and to us, the National Assembly members here. Let us try by all means to advocate for peace, no matter which party we belong to. For me, if my own party does not do well, I will stand and tell that party that he is not doing well. But if the other party is doing bad, if my party is not doing well, I will tell my party that this party is my party is not doing well. But at the same time, if another party is doing good, I will stand and say that this party is doing good. So what is stopping us from doing that? Just for the sake of our country. Not for the sake of our parties. Because if the country is not doing well, I don't think you will have the guts of standing and talk about your party. I think all those things we should stand and think about. This country belongs to all of us. We are here with persons with disabilities. We are here with babies, newly born babies. We are here with the elderly. And God forbid, anything that happens, what do you think will happen to those people? We want to be as selfish as possible, all of us, including myself. Do we want to be as selfish as possible by knowing that, this is for me, let me create it, whatever happens in this country, I don't mind? Is that the type of country that we are looking for? I don't think we are looking for that type of country. I think when we are doing things, we should stand and say, some people are here, they are vulnerable. What about if I stay there and use my social media. Maybe go to the WhatsApp and insult somebody's mother, insult somebody's father, and the family responded. Then at the end, what will happen? Anything can happen. Look at Rwanda. It was the Tutsis and the Hutus. How many people were killed in Rwanda? This tribalism, we all know what it can bring along. Regional, religious-wise, we all know what it can cause to a country. But what about if we want to give it a deaf ear and continue doing what we want to do? Let us sit and think twice. And I mean both the incumbent, the political parties, the party leaders, the party militants, all of us. We are all one, and we should be one. You have seen the Manding cause, married to Wolofs, the Jolas married to Fula. We have all seen that, the intermarriages. We all attend our funerals. We all attend everything. But the way I say things, I'm not happy. And it's a call for concern. We should talk about it. In fact, I want us to go to the radio stations to start advocating for peace rather than listening to a lot of music. If you go to, how many radio stations do we have? But all the radios you open, we are hearing music, thinking that nothing has happened. And something is very alarming. We have to talk about it for the sake of nurturing peace. My brothers and sisters, peace is so important. Let us nurture peace for the sake of history. History is here, and it will stretch its long arms. I always talk about it. Now the other thing I want to talk about is this thing. It's so disheartening. Let me talk about how many average Gambians tenant can pay $5,000 in a single room. I mean rentage. You see, it has gone. I always have this problem. I want to talk about rentage in this country. I think the government should come up with a strategy to make sure that the Gambians can have a very good house to live in. Rentage is a problem, and it's getting higher and higher. Even if you need a house, you will go to the agent, you will pay that agent. It's not the same from the money that you are going to pay when you stay. And you are going to pay, if it is $5,000, you are going to pay for 3 or 6 months. And then the other thing is, sometimes you don't pay in Gambian currency. You either pay in pound sterling, or you pay in dollar, or you pay in euro. Do we live in those countries? And what is the essence of, is it that the government is not taking care of his people? So I think we should try by all means to make sure that we strategize on this rentage. The other thing I want to talk about is the market. Let me put it in one because I am only having 15 minutes. The market and the fuel. Even today, I am told that fuel has increased again. It's just maybe within 1 or 3 or 2 weeks. The fuel is getting higher and higher. The cost of fuel. And the cost of living. We said that the Gambia, we had a lot of fish. People are coming to take our fish. But now we don't have fish. Even chicken is more cheaper than fish now. If you go to the market, you want to buy a bunga, it costs you, if it is $25, it will be $30 to $35, sometimes $50. I think these are really things that we need to talk about. And then the other thing, I want to talk to Mohas about the visually impaired education. We don't have anything that we can use, especially when they are integrated in the other schools. If they want to go to school, they will just go to Govi to acquire the necessary needs, the necessary equipment that they need. So, what is Mohas doing about the the visual impairment. It's through special needs. When we talk about special needs, it's more for visually impaired and hearing impairment and organization of learning difficulties. Those are the ones that really need the special needs. But when it comes to physically challenged, they only need the structures to enable them to access the buildings. But when we talk about special needs, it's the visually impaired, the hearing impairment, and the difficult learners that we call Gambia Organization of Learning Difficulties. So when it comes to visually impaired, we need braille material, we need audios, we need tactile for feeling. That is when it comes to drawing, and all those things are available. I think persons with visually impaired should be included in the policy making. And then whatever you're doing, you involve us so that we will tell you what to do. Because I was listening to the PS, and he's saying that, well, yes, it's true, it's only one school at Goovy, but that school was not provided by the government. It's only the land that was provided by the government. But the whole school was built by some philanthropists. So I don't think there is any school built for visual impairment. And if you say, if you build this school, you will only have 2 or 1, I don't think you know. What you should have done is to discuss and talk to the people rather than taking it to the air to say something really that is not so. But please, come and then we discuss more, and then we tell you what to do. And people with visually impaired, even if we are giving the proper education that we need, we can even be the king of the world. Do you know why? We are doing things wholeheartedly. And we want to make sure that what we do is the right thing. And we want to make sure that when we make mistake, people will say that because of his or her visual impairment, that is why he or she is making mistakes. That is why
you have about 3 minutes more.
Thank you. That is why we are trying by all means to make sure that we do things at the right time. And please involve us. So, in order to end, what I'm saying here is that let them involve those type of people in your policy making and in your decision, so that everybody will be included. Because if you look at EFANET, they are saying education for all, but sometimes it's not there. And the other thing is that plans are on the way. Let plans come. I don't know when plans will reach. We should always make sure that if we fail to plan, then we are planning to fail. This country belongs to all of us. Since 2016, we have been talking the same thing. I don't think what we are saying sometimes does not yield any progress. Because we are standing here talking, and I know next year, God willing, the same thing we are going to talk about. So on that note, I want to shower my blessings to everybody for passing the disability bill and saying that everybody has a disability in one way or the other. And nothing for us without us. And I am calling the Gambian government to make sure that persons with, we don't only need this bill as a cosmetic. We want it to be implemented for the betterment of persons with disabilities. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Member for Basse.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity. I also join colleagues to thank the Office of the Speaker, the Office of the Clerk, the Executive, our partner in development, and the media fraternity, and all other honorable colleagues, especially those who summon the cabinet ministers on a parliamentary question. Honourable Speaker, adjournment debate is an opportunity to create an interaction between the parliamentarians and the executive, because at the end of the day, we are going to meet here in this parliament to decide for the development of the nation. The government is having its development plan called National Development Plan. The resources has to be allocated for its implementation by the parliament. And the parliament has all rights to monitor the implementation of those projects. So that's make it important to have an interaction once in every 3 months so that we know what's going right, what's not going right. And how do we know that the plan is not being implemented as planned is by hearing from the MPs when we are talking about issues on our individual constituencies. Anything that I talk about in my constituency, it is already in your plan. But I'm giving you an information that that issue or particular matter, it is not being addressed in my constituency. Then it will help you to adjust. So that if it is related to resource constraints, when we meet again in December during the budget session, our attention should be called on that. And the members will know now what to do and how to do it. So that's what makes the adjournment debate important. Honorable Speaker, having said that, I will call the attention of the Minister for Health about the MOU between the Ministry of Health and the community of Sabi about their health center. What is the position of the ministry? If the minister can inform us with detailed information. Equally, still the Minister of Health, I want to submit to him the situation of Alunkare. It's a community in my constituency that mobilized 150 million Gambian money dollars to put up a structure. This structure, they call it health structure. Technically, is it a health structure? We don't know. The ministry that's having the technical experts to go and monitor the building and to know what this building can be used for in order to help Basse Health Center. It can even help to minimize the referral from Basse to Bansa. So we are asking the Honorable Minister for Health, if your ministry has any plan towards that, you can please share with us. Honorable Speaker, the issue of electricity in my constituency, in Upper River Region first, and then in my constituency. The Honorable Minister is here, and other members of URR are here. During the Ramadan, it was a bit tough. The government has intervened. We enjoy 24 hours electricity supply, URR. After Ramadan, the trend changed. We went to 10 hours per day. But as of now, I'm speaking to you, we are enjoying 19 hours electricity supplies in the Upper River Region. I would like to ask the minister what will be next, if you can help to give us the detail, what will be next, how it will happen, when it will happen, so that we have a package, a message to take it to our constituents, that this is the situation. In my constituency, it's divided into 2 wards, Sabi ward and Basse ward. Currently, in Sabi ward, we have 19 communities or 19 villages, but only Sabi is electrified. The remaining 18 communities are without electricity. Surveyors have been to this community. They work together with the VDCs and informing them, we have come to survey your community in order to install electricity. Almost 2 years ago, up to now, we don't see any trace similar to that. If the Honorable Minister can help me to inform me what happened, why it did not happen as planned, so that if I go back to my community, I will pass them the information. Honourable Speaker, Basse is the second capital of the Gambia. As at now, I want to engage the minister responsible for land issues, whether there is any plan to reserve an industrial zone in Basse. Because I think one day or the other, all of us are thinking to see the second airport of the Gambia in Basse. I think you and me, in one day or the other, we are thinking to see a dry port in Basse. I have the belief that the university will be extended to Basse. I have the belief that an ultra-modern university, Islamic studies, will be built in Basse. I have the conviction that infrastructural developments will be done in Basse in order to decentralize government programs, such as cabinet sitting and a sitting of the National Assembly, as it is enshrined in the Constitution. A sitting can be moved from this house to another place of the Gambia. Is government thinking in this line? If yes, have you worked on reserving an industrial zone in Basse so that if it is time to realize these dreams, you will not face land issue? Honorable Speaker, disaster in my constituency is becoming numerous. But what we do see, the regional disaster coordination team, they do go on the scenes, do their survey, but at the end of the day, we don't see a return. What is next? If the minister responsible for disaster issues is present, you can please inform us that after disaster, after assessment, what should be next? What should be our expectation? So that from now on, we'll be also able to educate our electorate about that. Honorable Speaker, in my conclusion, education. When I read the National Development Plan, I did understand that the government had the intention to improve or enhance the non-formal education. If we say non-formal education, what comes in our mind is national languages. But what we do realize or observe and understand, the Gambia, until otherwise understand to be corrected, does not have still what we call a linguistic policy. What is linguistic policy? And what is language policy? This is what we cannot differentiate. If you ask the government, they will come in answer by language policy. And we are talking about linguistic policy. This is the Constitution, 1997 Constitution, which we are going by. What are the languages of the Gambia which are captured in this Constitution? What are our national languages? Do we know? We don't know because the Constitution didn't capture it. It's when the Constitution captures languages that the time you say a particular country has a linguistic policy. And I once gave an example, like the Constitution of Senegal. In their Article number 1, it says the languages of Senegal. The official language is French. The national language is Mandeng, Wolof, Serer, Pular, etc., etc., etc. Then from there, we know that Senegal has a linguistic policy because the constitution is talking about the languages that are already codified and used for development purposes. Even English language here, it is used de facto. It is not used de jure. Because in this constitution, it's nowhere it is mentioned that English is an official language of the Gambia. And the language that we use for instructions at the school, the language that we use for communication as we are doing at the official matters, is the language that we use at the media. But there's no policy by the government, the decision of the government on the languages. We don't see it. So we want to remind the cabinet, which is responsible of such, to come with a decision on our national languages. It will help us to protect them. It will help us to promote them. It will help us to preserve them. It will help us to use them as development tools. Because language can be used for awareness creations. If we embark on awareness creation, at the end of the day, we can move to skill creation, self-employment, autonomy, will minimize the dependency. At the end of the day, we are making everybody to contribute to the socio-economic development of the country. And at most, it will help you to be aware. The problem that we are facing is because of we are not using our national languages. Look at this tribal attack between a tribe and a tribe, using the name of a tribe, insulting, and all leaders of those particular tribes are keeping silent. At the end of the day, what will happen? Nobody knows. If you're talking about peace and stability, it is a process. Activities must be monitored, assessed, and addressed accordingly.
You have about 2 more minutes.
Okay. I think it's 1 minute. Okay, thank you. So this is something somebody was talking.
Please.
Oh my God. Yes. So in conclusion, I am calling on government to think together about the issue of national languages, so that our national languages, our official language, will be captured in our constitution. From there, we can say the Gambia has a linguistic policy. We have people who can do it. Experts are here. The member for Woolly West is an expert in this domain. And there are so many experts in this country that can come up with a proposal for a linguistic policy for the Gambia. The government can cooperate with these people so that we have a linguistic policy. If you have a linguistic policy in this country, believe me, many things that we are facing will be things of the past. Everything begins with a language. If a language is 0, everything that you multiply by 0 becomes 0. So if you make your language 0 in your country, that means you are making everything in your country 0, including yourself. So it's high time that we think in that line so that we come up with a serious language policy. On that note, Madam Speaker, I thank you and beg to resume my seat.
Thank you very much. Honorable Minority Leader, please.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. Honorable Speaker, first of all, before I come to issues affecting my constituency, I think I have something that is very important. Honorable Speaker, the politics in this country, if anybody is not afraid or fear the trend politics is moving in this country, you are thinking like a child. Honorable Speaker, politics of character assassination. Politics of character assassination would develop something in this country. Our 2022 election,
presidential election, the 2021 election, honestly, the warnings are there. We have seen the trend. Something must be done. The registration process has laws that is guiding this registration process. An election starts from registration process. I have my documents, I have my birth certificate, I have my ID card. Who have the power to question my citizenship at that point? If you are questioning it, there is a law or a process where to follow. You challenge my citizenship, but it's not at the registration center. We are definitely taking the law into our hands. And once we take the law into our hands, we are trying to instigate violence. Honestly, I'm a little bit worried about our 2021 presidential election, because the warning is very clear. We have seen what is happening all over the country. That has never happened here for the past 22 years. It never happened. I think politicians should come out, because each group is represented by a political party. Each political party should sensitize your own militants to definitely not to go in for violence. Let us preach policies and programs based on our political ideologies. Once we do that, we are fine. Honorable Speaker, we come to the insult. My political blunder, if I made a political blunder, what does that have with my parents? For somebody to stand and insult my parent, either I voted yes against a bill, or I voted no against a bill. That has nothing to do with my parents. Then why should somebody get up and curse my parent because I make an error? The then Minister of Justice, Batambadu, wanted to bring here a bill to criminalize this insult. But the bill, people campaigned against the bill until the bill was withdrawn. Until the bill was withdrawn, and now that is the culture now. Insulting people is nothing. We have seen a leaked video, leaked audio that happened recently that can create a serious tribal war. That can cause a serious tribal war. We should be definitely careful. For me, I believe today every member who stood on the floor of this house should try and talk on these issues. Because we are the leaders of these people who are doing all these things. Once we speak to them, they will listen to us. Honorable Speaker, the Minister of Works and Infrastructure is not around. Honorable Speaker, we have a ferry that is crossing between Lower Salum and Nyamina. At the Lower Salum end, there is a ram. But at the Nyamina end, there is no ram. And then there is a ferry, plying there, and then the passenger traffic is very high. And then I believe since government has taken the responsibility to designate a ferry there, I think government should come again to make sure that the landing site of the other end is properly done so that at least people can be secured. It is a little bit threatening sometimes, especially during the rainfall. Honorable Speaker, the other one is for health issue, but thank God the Minister of Health is around. Minister of Health, this issue of health posts in my constituency. If you know my constituency, we have the Dankunku Health Center, and then you have the health post. In fact, when I was there about 2 weeks ago, the health officer there gave me a letter. When I read the letter, seeking a support from me, but I doubt if I can do the support. Because the support indicated in the letter is about how the facility is moving. He made a description that, okay, the facility, 12 communities are visiting that community. And over 3,000 people is normally attended in that health post. At the beginning, I understand the design was, in those days, for the health officers in Dankunku to be going there every Wednesday to do some medical consultations, so on and so forth. But now it has got to an extent, your personnel there is even conducting delivery. And if you look at the place, it's just a form of a shelter. And you have only two office form. The other one he uses it for consultation, then the other one he uses it for delivery. Honorable Minister of Health, imagine a woman deliver in a 1.5 meter square house, or at least 2 meters square, deliver there, and we know how a deliver woman normally look like. You cannot, sanitize yourself there inside. You have to go out for a distance to sanitize yourself. It's serious. For me, I think it's better if the facility cannot be developed to that extent where if a woman deliver, at least she can, she can sanitize herself inside without nobody knowing. For me, I'm even thinking that that part of the health issue to be removed there, so that at least women can be going to Dankunku. But that also is a problem, because once labor attack you, you just go where you feel, at least you can be assisted. It is definitely serious with that health post. And then I think I have talked about it several times, but this time around, when I go there, the personnel give me this letter. I feel I will address it here. You hear their concern. It is definitely a concern. Then the other issue touches about electricity. Because last time when the minister was here, a question was posed. I took up a supplementary, but it was said it was not supplementary question. That was to ask what the project the minister told us here, the energy minister, that is the World Bank project, where the member for Tumana asked, I wanted to know whether my constituency have benefited in that project. That is the rural electrification project under the World Bank. Minister of Energy, we the people of Nyamina Dankunku, sometimes we feel marginalized. Because the electricity, if you look at the trend of the electricity, it comes until around Jaren, then jump to the other side. Sometimes we feel we are not part of the Gambia. I don't know whether because we are small in population or whatsoever, but it's a concern that I believe it needs to be addressed. And then the same issue also comes to road infrastructure. We have a very important road connecting from the main road at the south bank from Choya to the riverside, that is this landing side I was just talking about. The traffic is so busy now because now it is easier from Nyamina East to be using that one to cross to the south, to the northern part, to Kauru, and then at the far end. All these gele-geles, they use that same traffic. So the traffic is definitely busy now. And then that road, we don't want now how to call laterite road. We need it black. We need it black. No more red. And then I can remember in those days when the Minister of Works stood here. He said they are no more going in for red or laterite. Everything must be put on standard. And now definitely we wanted to have this standard also in our constituency. Because presently we are understanding that there will be a launching in Kiang. So we want our own also to be launched. We want our own also to be launched. Honorable Speaker, when you came in, this one is a proposal because it was happening here in this parliament. The issue of ministers coming. I can remember with the last legislature, the minister who was responsible for National Assembly matters. Every morning, this minister, before he gets to his office, he will visit the office of the Speaker. During adjournment debate, whether all the ministers are here or they are not here, he will be here. And any issue you mention in every ministry, you will just see him carry his mobile, go out, and call the particular minister. Member so-and-so, particular my constituency so-and-so, have raised this issue in parliament. What is the position of your ministry? Then he will come and sit down. And then I think the minister responsible for National Assembly matters, if he operates in that way, then you will see he will be here when issues are raised, even when that particular minister, since he is the liaison officer between parliament and the executive, definitely he can do us a favor. And at that time, Bala will come here and clarify any issue, because anything, the member for Basa is my witness. Once you touch any issue, then he will go out and call the relevant minister, then come and sit down. During our winding up, he will go come and clarify all issues on behalf of his cabinet colleagues. I think if this trend also can continue, it will help us. Honorable Speaker, on that note, I thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Honorable Member for Sandu.
All right, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. Honorable Speaker. All right. Thank you very much. I just want to start with the situation that we are in this country now. That is the political atmosphere. My honorable member has just touched on some issues about the trend of politics going in this country. I think we need to be very, very careful. You can only develop if there's a peace. If there's no peace, you forget about development. Yeah. If there's no peace in any compound, definitely there will be no development, because everybody will be running for his or her own safety. So I think we need to. But he also talk about the legislature that the minister want to bring. I think why we rejected it was there was a segregation. If it is covered everyone, then I don't think any member here will reject it. But because there was a segregation, you cannot say Manuel will be safe and the people who voted for him are not safe. Then you are representing those people. So I think that was another factor why people were not in for the bill. But if it's looked holistically, for everybody's interest, that if he insults is a crime, then we will make sure that we support that bill. Honorable Speaker, I will start with my question, that is question 41 of 2021, to the Minister for Interior. So we have written to the Ministry about security issues in Sandu, that when the question reaches him, he came here and replied that the government has no plan to install security base in Sandu. And we want to make it clear to the minister that we are part of this country and it's our right to be protected. It's our right for our wealth to be protected. People living in the rural areas, they have two hopes, because most of them are not vying for any position in the government, but their hope is the farm and their livestock. So if they are not protected, their wealth are not protected, their hopes are theirs. The former minister promised that when we wrote to him, they have approved that they are going to establish a base. So when the current minister told us this, definitely does not go well with me, it does not go well with the people of Sandu. Just recently, a village called Kurau, they lost almost 17 cow head. Dar es Salaam, the same. You go to Kuongu, sheep and cow are lost. And according to Gilma record, Sandu we have 16,000 cow heads. And these 16,000 cow heads, they have only 2 cattle drinking points. Honorable Speaker. So as a result, we are losing a lot. Because during dry season, you have to take all the cows to Nyani, or you take them to Fonyi or Casamas. And you know how difficult it is to have access to fertilizer in this country. But if the cows are there, so the cow dung can be used as a fertilizer, the milk can be used for home consumption, even the meat. But we are not benefiting from all this, Honorable Speaker. And the Minister for Interior is telling us they don't have any plan to install a base. So we are appealing to the government that Sandu is part of the country and we need to be protected. So as a matter of urgency, the station in Diabugu, they are not mobile. They don't have motorbike, they don't have vehicle. So they are just there. If crime occurs, example, in Naude, before you reach there, what time can you reach there? Unless you go to the village, you start asking people to help you with motorbike to carry you to Naude or other part of Sandu. So this is a concern, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, water shortages in Sandu. Since 2017 to date, we cannot pound our chest that the government has done an improvement in water sectors in Sandu, because we have not seen any project from government that were installed in Sandu. And the people, the water that they drink, honestly, there's no member here, unless if you're from there, or there will be no minister or director. If you go there, when they give you that water, you will drink. You will not drink. You go to the mini market, you buy your own water, you put it in your car. So when there's a meeting, you take that water, but the water that they drink, honestly, if they give it to them, they will not drink. And there are also people like us. So why we don't want to drink that water? There's something there. Why? If they give it to you, you say you will not drink. You buy your own water. Like Nyanija, you are listening, I will teach you, learn from me. They will not drink that water, honestly. Wallahi, there are waters there as red as this chair. And people are drinking. Honorable Speaker, you can bear me witness. Because I will not forget if somebody did something good. She has come to our aid. There's a village that Honorable Speaker's effort has made those people to drink clean water. So, Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Minister stood here. She said, we cannot provide water for all these villages because they are small. I think we need to change that policy. Any village less than 1,500 people, government cannot give you water. I don't think that's a good policy. You go to Sandu, 75% of the villages are less than 1,500 people. So which means 75% of those people, it's not their right to have water from government, and they are paying their tax. No matter how small it is. You are paying your tax, and in return, you are expecting something from government to help you. But the only help that we get is from the NGOs and ourselves. When we form association, the villagers will contribute and get water for themselves. Right, Honorable Speaker, we come to health. We have about 28,600 or more than 28,600 inhabitants in Sandu. All these people are receiving health care from Diabu Minor Health Center. And Diabu Minor Health Center, some villages, the distance between them and Diabu is more than 10 kilometers. So we are appealing to government. There are strategic locations where there is health posts, which can easily be transformed to a health center. That is in Saragubu. The Honorable Minister is aware. The stretch there, if you look at the inhabitants, is more than 14,000 people. And if that location, if that health center is developed, So it will curb the difficulties of accessibility to healthcare. So they will not come to Diabu, instead they will all go to Sarigugu to get their medical care. So we are appealing to Honorable Minister for Health to consider that with urgency so that the people of Sandu, also people around that end, well, the difficulties will ease. Honorable Speaker, then we come to businesses. The Committee on Trade have done tremendous work to make sure that what people are crying for, the hike of prices on commodities, comes down. But Honorable Speaker, because we did not lay the reports, we were supposed to lay a report and the report is ready, but because of time, we couldn't lay the report. But the committee, I thank the committee and the committee members for what they have done. Honorable Speaker, my advice to the Minister for Trade is that I think we should now be thinking of creating competition for the market than creating competition in the market. If you see all these problems that we are facing, because our effort is to create competition inside the market, it's not possible anywhere. You have to create competition for the market. What do I mean? We have to make sure that we empower the Gambian, the citizen, to engage in business. And how can they do that? There's a big gap there. Some countries, you have an act called Start-up Act, but we don't have that act in the Gambia. I want to engage in business. I want to start a small-scale business with $10,000. The moment I open the shop, area council will come, GRA will come, other stakeholders will come. The money that you have used as your capital is going on tax. So how can you develop? At least we have a Startup Act. I want to start a business, fine, you register your business, we give you 5 years to establish. We give you 10 years to establish. But the month that I started, area council will come. People will come with duty tickets. Small businesses who are going to the garden, bring their produce to the market. During this COVID, some countries, they are at least giving them exemption. But in this country, it's not happening. And you still expect people to bring down the prices. So I went to the garden early in the morning, produce, go to the market. Somebody from KMC will come, give me, your ticket is here, $10 and $15. So you still expect that person to bring the price of that produce down. How will it be possible? So I think we need to be reasonable enough to make sure that we create environment for the business people so that the price hike will come down. So Honorable Minister for Trade, if you are here or not, please let us try endeavor, create that competition for the market. Without that, trying to create competition inside the market, the prices will go up. Because you can see that there will be no competition in the market at all. All the business people here, they are friends. I bring my goods, you bring your goods, we are communicating every day. Government want to take action, they will form a cartel. People will suffer. Honorable Speaker, we talk about network issue in this country. I think Gambia, we are paying the most expensive data in the sub-region. It's Gambia. I was making a research, compare the same company, Africell, they are established in Sierra Leone. I compare them, what we are paying here is far more than what people in Sierra Leone are paying for data. And in fact, the speed, you cannot compare them. Even Senegal, you cannot compare the speed. We have a very low speed at a high price. Senegal, they have a very high speed at a low price. You go to some villages around the rural areas. Still now people are hanging their mobile up. So what is the royalties that these people are paying the government if government cannot inject that one to the telecommunications sector and make sure that people did not hang their mobile up now? I always say, if you go to the provinces, what you pay on data, you cannot compare to what people pay on data in Greater Banjul area. Because here, Africell was fooling us, and Pura is aware that they have 4G while they don't have 4G. It's very clear. They start calling people, come and change your SIM card because we have 4G. Then for the past years, we were advertising on TVs. They were advertising on TVs, radios that we have 4G. Why they don't have 4G? Why if you have 4G now, you start calling people, come and change your SIM card, you have 4G. So which means you were cheating on people. At the end of the day, they fool us, they go to the radios and TVs that we have how to call it, draw competition. Where are you getting that money? Millions of dollars. If you're not cheating on people, I think government should take an action against these people. All the telecommunication system, their data is expensive, people cannot afford it. Now you think of, I have kids going to school. Like example, the university now, they want to have online programs, the college and some other schools. So how data is expensive, you have 10 kids, will you be able to buy data for all these kids to be able to follow their lessons? It's a problem. Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. Also, I have to seize this opportunity to thank the President of ECOWAS, and I think the good person who relayed the message is Honorable Magasi and others in the ECOWAS Parliament, that they have donated 7 brand new computers with accessories to all the 7 borders in this country to support the immigration officers in taking data. Instead of now taking their data on choir books, they can use this machine to take data, they can use the machine to communicate to other stations. So I thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Member for Yara East.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. Honorable Speaker, I went outside to make a short call, basically to confirm something, and that is in line with the Minister of Lands. And I want to put on record, Honorable Speaker, that the Minister of Lands, through the Minister of Lands himself, has done a tremendously good job with regards to a land dispute in Banyaka, which I'm a party to. Honorable Speaker, this was judiciously tackled through the effort of the Honorable Minister for Lands and Regional Government. And I've gone out to confirm, to hear from the horse's mouth, that it has been solved amicably. And to that end, on behalf of my group, we want to register our abiding gratefulness to the Minister of Lands for having solved this matter judiciously and expeditiously. Having said that, Honorable Speaker, I will now talk about my own institution, our own institution, the National Assembly, if you like, the Parliament. Honorable Speaker, it is important to understand the importance of Parliament, why we have Parliament, and in our context here, the National Assembly, Madam Speaker. Honorable Speaker, in a nutshell, Parliament or National Assembly is considered as an embodiment of the interests of the masses. That's the long and short of Parliament. Honorable Speaker, therefore it is very important for this august institution to be treated with the utmost respect it deserves. Honorable Speaker, our convergence here is not a mere convergence. It is dictated by the Constitution, and therefore that makes it solemn. Madam Speaker, whenever we converge here, we are discussing matters bordering on national importance. Honorable Speaker, just to draw a quick analogy, this is not an ordinary chamber. This is why it is called the hallowed chamber. It is solemn. It goes to solemnity. Honorable Speaker, if you are entering these hallowed chambers, you bow down before the chambers, before the speaker. And if you are going out, the same thing. You bow down. That is showing utmost respect to these hallowed chambers. So it's not an ordinary house where you can crisscross without showing due deference. Honorable Speaker, the member for Woodley West is notorious for urging ministers to be frequenting these hallowed chambers whenever we are in sessions. And I want to draw the same line. Why? Because this institution is very important, it is hallowed. But yesterday, the solemnity of this house was soiled for want of not quorum, but for the known appearance of ministers. I repeat, the solemnity of this August assembly was soiled for not want of quorum, but for the known showing up of honorable ministers. I think that was quite unfortunate. Honorable Speaker, I believe.
Observe. Or point of order.
No.
Observe.
No. You are not allowed.
Just remember that this is adjournment debate, please.
It's adjournment debate.
Observe.
No.
Brother.
I have to grant you that leave. Okay, sorry. My time is going. So you see, no, I'm on my feet. No, I'm not on that.
Honorable, he says no.
He said yes. No. I said I should grant you leave. I didn't say yes. Yes, so.
The honourable member used the word notorious. Notorious is negative. I think he could have said the honourable member for is known for, rather notorious.
Consistent.
I want that to be withdrawn.
The use of the word notorious.
For the records, yes.
Yes, I'm coming.
Maybe.
I'm coming.
Notorious a little bit negative.
I'm coming. Madam Speaker, I beg to differ with my honourable colleague. This is semantics. It's very correct. Notorious means he's accustomed to using.
One thing I will warn
it's very correct.
Honorable, if you want to digress, you're taking your time. That's all.
It's semantics. Yes, it's very correct. You can double check. Okay, Honorable Speaker. So I was talking about the importance of Parliament, so that ministers can be coming. You see, we were elected by our constituency or our constituents. Basically, we are their mouthpiece. So whenever we have ministers behind us, that will help us a great deal. The essence of their coming here is for us to interact. Because we are emissaries. We are messengers of our constituency. We are sent here. So when we have ministers in our midst, that will help us a great deal. They can solve our problems. And I hope and pray that this will be the last thing
observation
discussed here. Yes? No, I'm not allowing you. So I hope this will be the last time for us to discuss the coming of the ministers. They are our friends. All of us are in the same boat. This is a national bantawa. And the essence of the national bantawa is nothing more than a marketplace for ideas. We are just here to exchange ideas. We are not here to antagonize any minister. But, Madam Speaker, I will put it on record. Some ministers, in terms of coming to the House, they have scored a very good points. But we have some ministers, honestly speaking, we hardly see them. And I think we should try by all means to change this trajectory. We should try by all means to change this trajectory. We can change it. We only need the willpower. Once we have the willpower, we can change this thing. And I hope come next time, this will be a thing of the past. Honorable Speaker, IEC. Honorable Speaker, IEC must be commended for being the umpire of our elections. But lest I forget, Honorable Speaker, they must also take their stand. They must take their stand.
Sorry, just something went wrong technically. So it's not that you have 14 minutes. Okay, right, thank you.
If I wanted to raise that, thank you. So you see, the IEC need to take their stand because it is the body charged with the responsibility of ensuring registration, proper elections in this country. So they must take their stand. Honorable Speaker, we have been having a lot of troubles in registration centers. If you go to the social media, you hear a lot of stories concerning registration process. And I think the IEC need to take their stand. Because as an independent umpire, you must not be biased. So I'm urging on them to make sure they take their stand. This does not mean that they are not doing their job. But as an independent umpire, they need to take their stand very seriously. Once that is done, it will help us a great deal, Madam Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the disturbances that took place in Kanilai. Honorable Speaker, before I go further, I must thank the member for Fonyi Kansala for coming out in full force to condemn such an unfortunate disturbances. And I think as a nation, such disturbances should be met with wholesale condemnation because it is quite unfortunate, it's not diplomatic. No nation, neither no village can stand as an island. That incident is quite unfortunate, and I hope it will be a learning point for the alleged perpetrators. Because we need peace. And Madam Speaker, peace is priceless, as it was ably elucidated by the Yasin nominated. Peace is proper and hollow is wrong. This is election time. We have to eschew violence at all costs. We are all one nation, one people, one Gambia. Why should we allow our country to be metamorphosed into a crying cause as opposed to a smiling cause? May God forbid. But because the stakes are very high, tempers started, flaring up. But all those tempers, to be simmer down. There is no cause for tempers to flare up. This is an important exercise. We can only have our third republic when we manage these upcoming elections positively. Madam Speaker, I'm urging on all Gambians, all my fellow compatriots, to take this election as a national project. That when it fails, it is the Gambia that fails. When it succeeds, it is the Gambia that succeeds. And Madam Speaker, I am more than convinced that as wise Gambians, if we are confronted with two elements, that is to break the Gambia or to make the Gambia, Honorable Speaker, I will take the latter as opposed to the former. We will make it as opposed to breaking it. Because we have our 2-1. We always put on our thinking caps as Gambians. And I hope that that will continue so that we can save the Gambia. Because it is the only country we have. No matter. Let us all be very, very vigilant. Whoever is trying to foment violence, make sure we nip it in the bud. It does not matter whether it belongs to your political party or not. But violence must be nipped in the bud at the earliest time. Honorable Speaker, having said that, no, it's 10. Okay, so it's going descending order. Okay.
In fact, I was telling you, I thought you understood me.
Okay.
We had some technical issues there.
Oh, okay, all right. You can give me 2 minutes. Okay. Madam Speaker, Minister of Interior, Honorable Speaker, we have been having problems in our streets, ranging from drug abuse, criminal activities, And I think it's high time, for us to look at these things. They are very, very important. We need to be secured in our own, yards as Gambians. Security is very important. Madam Speaker, people always complain of, insecurity. Yes, I'm coming. I'm coming. So I will urge the Minister of Interior to please help us to make sure they maintain security in our country, because we cannot do anything when we are not secure. And I want this message, to get to the Minister that we need security. It is the alpha and omega of our country. There is nothing that we can do as a nation when security is a casualty. And Madam Speaker, the way things are going now, security is very fragile in this country. I hope and pray that that will be remedied soonest. Honorable Speaker, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to express my opinions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Ileasa.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. Honorable Speaker, most of my colleagues, they spoke about the political situation in this country. Madam Speaker, leadership is very important. You want to be a leader, Madam Speaker, you must be competent enough. At the same time, you should know people and know their problems. At the same time, Madam Speaker, you should try to know norms and values of your people. Otherwise, you cannot rule. Madam Speaker, to be quite honest with you, leadership is not a joke. If you want to be a leader, you cannot stand in the eyes of God, play a drama in front of your people. How do you expect your people, your followers, to do? Madam Speaker, this is a warning. If you see the political situation in this country, I'm afraid. We cannot control this country, Madam Speaker, until and unless the political leaders need to change the attitude, the way they are behaving in the eyes of God and in front of their people. Madam Speaker, it's very sad. I don't mind if you make a threat. I am here to say the fact. I was very much disappointed in the manner, the way the certain people are acting in this country. Madam Speaker, I raised a question here that the Minister of Education should try to explain, because $3.5 billion were given to our ministry. If you could allow me, this was chartered for free education for public schools, construction and rehabilitation of school educational structures. I mean, the system bucket. To defend myself. Okay. So, okay, finally, and also the school feeding.
The citizens' budget.
Yes. But Madam Speaker, if you go to the estimate, the GLF approved $2.8 billion. And also, the total project funds is about 1.2. If you add them together, it's about $4.2 billion. And the said ministry, or the said minister, was saying that it was 2.5 billion, and I disagreed with her. And you also, if I'm not quoting wrong, you are saying that it was a 2.6 million. So that being the case, I think I am on the right direction. Maybe I need apology from you people. Madam Speaker, if you go to, I don't know whether the Minister of Works and Minister of Works is here. Since 2017, up to date, the feeder road between Farafanye and Balew. Sometimes, if I mention here, the Works Minister is laughing at the people. He's laughing at me because he was saying that the people living around that area do not deserve to maintain that road. And also, I even asked him, the feeder road, Madam Speaker, between Iliad and Kachang, still not so completed. Despite the fact that eunuchs are responsible to finance the feeder road, but he is the same minister who is in position to give us where that feeder road is not completed. Madam Speaker, I know where the 5 minutes here. I say it and I'll say it again, Madam Speaker. I don't know why the Finance Minister is refusing. You don't want to hear from my concern. The tax on rice has been reduced. We are not paying tax on rice, Madam Speaker, so that the poor people at the provinces will be able to buy rice at the cheap price. But Madam Speaker, still now, the bag of rice at provinces is very expensive. Madam Speaker, why are you paying duty on rice? And where is the Finance Minister, Madam Speaker? Maybe he is comfortable and he's affected. And he's the party. If I'm the Minister of Finance, I would have objected the concern of the poor people. But because we are not in the same meter band, so that's why he closed his eyes and his ears not to hear from my request. But I will assist the needy people at provinces. Madam Speaker, and also, I have been asked the Minister of Works again. They have allocated $4.1 billion to the roads consortium of Banjul City, our capital. I asked the Minister to come and give the data, how that money was spent. But still now, I haven't heard anything from the Minister concerned, and I'm still waiting for him. So, Madam Speaker, on the final note, Madam Speaker, I am highly appealing to civil servants to come on board and sympathize the poor people. Madam Speaker, it is very sad, Madam Speaker. If you go through the weather report from 2016 to 2018, you became mad, Madam Speaker. Because the amount of money misused, and the amount of money the Auditor General can't explain it, the Auditor General explain it, it's been too much, it's been sad. And this country can't be developed, Madam Speaker, without the full participation of the civil servant. If they want this country to go forward, they should sympathize the poor people and join with, we put hands together and work in hand. This is why I'm saying that, Madam Speaker. Just like the Minister of Agriculture. If we want the intellectuals, soil scientists, all graduates, professors, is full of agriculture. But still now, the country is stagnant. Why? Because we are not committed. We are not committed, and we don't even love our country. Neither to sympathize with the poor people at provinces. That's the bottom line. It is very sad. Even just last Saturday, I spent the night at Bassi. I'm still warning. The traffic officers, they have no right to humiliate people at Bassi. I was there. And it was my concern, and the way they are treating people at Bassi is very inhuman. They have a right to ask you your license. If you don't pay, but they have no right to seize your key from you, at the same time, to try to demand something from you. That's very inhuman. I am appealing to IG and traffic officer. Let them try to at least advise their people so that they should try to drive the people across the country. Madam Speaker, again, I think the Minister of Trade is here. It is very sad, Madam Speaker. This country, we are not even stagnant, but we are going backward in terms of trade. Because if you compare the last regime, Gambians were enjoying the transit trade. The countries from Guinea-Bissau, Casamas, they came freely in this country. We are enjoying that. But now, we are demanded by Senegal's national government, even the Kasu, they will not even allow for you to transport from Guinea-Bissau, Casamas to this country. Why? Are you not part of ECOWAS? So this is a very serious concern, and the Minister of Trade is here. Let's try to take this matter at a level so that we'll be able to enjoy the transit trade. Madam Speaker, although it is just sad, if you see the present situation of this country, Madam Speaker, it's alarming. But I'm not also appealing to the political parties. But even the other owners, the elders, they should come out and coach their sons and daughters so that at least they will start insulting people everywhere. Because insulting will not solve problems in this country. The only thing we can go forward, Madam Speaker, we should try to revisit our movement and the way we are not our young ones, so that they will be able to be a good leader tomorrow. For that being the Madam Speaker, although we are now almost near the end of the year, and I am warning that, Madam Speaker, if you are living in the class house, Madam Speaker, don't throw stones. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Honorable Member for Talinding.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity. Honorable Speaker, there is a reason why we are called honorable members. And we have to honor that dignity. Madam Speaker, this House should not be used as a medium to attack a head of state or any other person or to insult the person. Madam Speaker, We all belong to a political party. If you want to stand here and insult somebody leader, the person may pay back, and that one can bring chaos into this parliament. A member of this parliament stood here and used an abusive language against the vice president. He repeatedly did it to the president, and he did it today also. I think that person didn't deserve the title of honorable, Madam Speaker. Let us call a spade as a spade. We need to nurture our culture. Let us stop disrespecting our elders. If you don't brought up in a house where insults are raised, you should not be an elderly person to raise insult in leaders. Madam Speaker, I submit, and let me read my contribution. Madam Speaker, I think the government needs to invest more in our educational system, Madam Speaker. All our technical inputs are done by donor partners, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, when the Chinese realize that they are overpopulated and they cannot provide job opportunities for their children, their citizens, they invest more on technical inputs. Typical example is the conference center. All the relevant works were done by the Chinese. Only the irrelevant ones were done by the Gambians, and sometimes they mostly work on night. Madam Speaker, on the land dispute, I think the Minister of Regional Government is here, and the Minister of Justice need to work hand in glove, Madam Speaker. The act of the district tribunal was set out of this parliament, but I think there is a need to be done. We have a lot of land dispute, and we feel that when we have district tribunal, some of these issues will be addressed. But land dispute is becoming a serious problem in this country, Madam Speaker. I think they need to work hand in glove to address some of these issues, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, members talk about insults from political parties or even political rivals or political opponents, Madam Speaker. What does this have for our economic interest? We cannot continue to restart our country after 20 years of economic hardship, Madam Speaker. We need to fix this country, and it needs collective responsibility. A big bill was brought in this parliament here, and it was rejected by this parliament. And I think as game changers, Madam Speaker, if you don't want to come up with a bill that will punish our electorates, we need to guide them. Let us not misguide them. Let's guide our electorates as game changers. We all have a role to play. And we took an oath to serve this country, Madam Speaker. The amount of insult, character assassination in our political leaders, religious leaders, political opponents, and from some political parties, their members are in outside country. They were assassinated, they were inciting violence in this country, and nobody is condemning it, Madam Speaker. Today is the turn of the government. Tomorrow you might be in the government, and it will not tell well on you. So let us try and fix this country. I am calling on the Minister of Foreign Affairs to work in consultation with any international community to see that those in the outside countries, if they abide by the rule of Europe and they want to destabilize this country, let the Minister of Foreign Affairs work in consultation with their government and see what to do to those people living in outside countries, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, telling my consequence. Madam Speaker, the Energy Minister is here. I think a lot needed to be done in my constituency. Despite several natives of this area occupy key government positions for the past years, still this constituency is underdeveloped. We have a lot of water shortage. We always only access water during mid hours of night. And I think the Energy Minister is here. He can address some of this issue with the current OIC project that is going on. They are fixing some pipe-borne waters. I think he can put Talinding in the pipeline. Madam Speaker, insecurity. I think the Interior Minister needs to act. Let's act and let's act. Let's move from commitment to action, Madam Speaker. The way our country is running into scarcity, Madam Speaker. The youths are involved into drug abuse. Even though if we want to, in and as much as we want to support democracy, Madam Speaker, but we need to fix this country. How do we fix this country? Let's stop our youth from using illegal drugs. Let's stop them from robbing people's place. If you talk about it, they will say that the securities are not equipped. These securities are here for the past years, and they are operating well. The government has done a lot. They have 100% salary increasement for the civil servant. What is stopping them to act? Let the securities act and stop listening to people. Let them stop listening to this social media. I'm not supporting any security officers to be humiliating people in the street, but the law must be abided. Let us stop these youths from using illegal drugs and attacking people. The robbery is too much. The attack is too much. Everybody is scared. Nobody is going to beg peacefully. We are talking about dictatorship before. We say that now we have democracy. And the democracy is here. We are not enjoying peace. Nobody is going to bed freely. Everybody is scaring that I might be attacked in the late hours of night. Madam Speaker, I think the Interior Minister needs to do something. Madam Speaker, health. The health minister did a tremendous job to come to my constituency to do some findings in my area, but I'm still appealing to him, let him venture into something so that we can have a major health center at that area. We just have a German clinic that doesn't have any mortuary, neither a labor ward for the women of Talinding. We travel all the way to Bundung, so I'm calling on the Honorable Minister for Health to try and come to my aid. Madam Speaker, street light. Madam Speaker, I think since the tar road that was constructed in Talinding, I raised a concern here, and the Works Minister told me that it cannot be in the previous budget. And I think he's ready enough to do something, because he promised that maybe they will look into it. But this place didn't have a street light, and sometimes the women feel skeptical to go out when they were going for their petty business at the market, Madam Speaker. On that note, I'm calling on all honorable members to behave like honorable and guide the people outside. Let's behave like a honorable person and stop abusive language against people, including all party militants who are doing it. Because you know what you are saying, or you have the audacity to say something, but you don't know what somebody has to say. So let us stop such and know that this country belongs to all of us. On that note, Madam Speaker, I beg to take my seat.
Very much, Honorable Member for Sami.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for giving me the floor. Madam Speaker, I would like to thank Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education for the simple fact that there are so many projects going on in my constituency, and some of those schools are about to be completed. That's why when
Sorry, let me just give you an extra minute. Honorable members, I have a long list. Here I have 16, here I have 23. We all cannot be on the floor at the same time. So we have to go by the list. Just exercise patience. Everybody is recorded. So I'm trying to keep the balance here, there, and here. So it's not very easy, but I'm trying to keep the balance. So be patient. Huh? Thank you. I'll give you...
Thank you very much. As I said, I must thank the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education for constructing so many schools in my constituency. Some of those schools are about to be completed, and she made it here that some of them will be completed in September. So I must thank them for a job well done. Honorable Speaker, I will go straight to higher education. If members can remember, last year, the students at Karantaba Upper Senior Secondary School made made a strike simply because of teachers. I'm sure this time round they will try to address that, because it is the oldest senior secondary school in Samin. So if that school did not have the right teachers, most of them have to go to other schools. you cannot condition them to stay in their school if the right teachers are not in those schools. So I'm appealing to higher education and Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education to employ right teachers in those schools, especially mathematics and English. And even their science lab, it should be well equipped. Honorable Speaker, I also want the higher education to have a discussion with Ministry of Works. The camp at Sametenda, the Lamenkoto Passmas Road is completed. There is a camp there. The buildings are well furnished. I want the higher education and Ministry of Works to discuss how best they can change that station to a skill center so that the youths in Sami can learn skills there. That is the only thing that they want. We don't want any other thing except a skill center where the youths can train and learn skills. Okay. Honorable Speaker, we are in the rainy season and the Minister for Agriculture is not here. But I want the chair of the committee to relate this information to Ministry of Agriculture. I don't know whether the technicians are here or not. Okay, the PSCs. Okay, thank you very much. Honorable Speaker, if we go around, most of the seed stores are not in good condition. Most of the seed stores are not in good condition. I want them to put it in this 2022 budget. Let them see. And the committee also engage them. Let them put it so that those skill stores will be constructed or will be furnished. Because farmers, they have nowhere now to store their seeds or to store their fertilizer. Madam Speaker, this has reminded me, day before yesterday, I saw it in QTV, about 20 tons of fertilizer has already arrived in this country. But I don't know the mode of transmission, because they say they're going to transmit it to the depots, distribute it to the depots. So I want the committee to engage the ministry. After distributing to the depots, what next? Because if, as a farmer, they said if you want a fertilizer, you have to go to Reliance. Where some of these farmers are, and CRR not, there is no bank, there is no Reliance. CRR, it's in Bansang. How can those in Pachonki live from Pachonki come to Bansang to buy fertilizer at Bansang? To pay transport? Transport. A bag is $700. Why not they give it to SECOs if they don't have loan? Let them bring it to their doorstep so that they will not pay any transport. We said it here last year, it does not happen. But I want the committee to engage them. This time around, how are they going to do it? Honorable Speaker, there are a lot of, village garden that they started, but they are not yet completed. For years or more, they are just lying like that. They are not completed. And we said we want to improve on agriculture. And I always say it here, Madam Speaker, agriculture is not only crops. I said it here. When you say agriculture, you talk about animals. So that when there is no bumper harvest, people can turn to their animals and sell it and buy their basic needs. Left to me alone, the agriculture should be separated. The crops should be separated from livestock. Livestock have their own ministry. so that they will function, or else they will not function. Anything that comes, the lion's share will go to crops, and we will not see anything. And our animals will die. Just look at how many livestock assistants do we have. You know, I just take example of my own area. The minister stood here and said, they know the number of animals in Pachonki alone. They know. If we take somebody, a livestock assistant is there, you remove that person, maybe, or that person have gone for studies, and now there is nobody replacing. The one who is at Karantaba cannot cater for all. One person in Karantaba cannot cater for all. Honorable Speaker, I will go straight to Interior. When the Interior Minister is here, I brought this question to him. That what plans did they have? The whole CRR, there is no fire station. CRR North, there is no fire station. I put this question to him. What plans did they have? He said they don't have any plan yet because of resource constraint. Let them put it in the budget, 2022. Let them put it in the budget. Do we allow just to sit down like that? People's properties are spoiling. When there is fire disaster, the health committee visited Lamenkoto and other areas last year. Do we want the same strength to continue? No. Let us not just allow and sit down and say, yes, donors will do it for us. Let us intervene and see what we can do. At least 2 fire stations in CRR North. The one in Same, the one the other side. Yes. So that when there is fire disaster, they can easily call. So those people can come and assist. But just remember.
Honorable Speaker, a point of observation, please.
No, I will not allow it. Please, when your time comes, whatever you want to say, you can say it. This is adjournment debate. Thank you. Honorable Speaker, I'm still on Interior. Let them provide transport. The member for Sandu is saying that here. Our security, they need transport. Mobility, they need mobility, our security. So that when there are instances, they can easily move. Just look at Karantaba. There is no mobility. You go to Laminkoto. It's not enough. At the camp, it's not enough. But when they have the mobility, when there are issues, Madam Speaker, they can easily go and solve those issues. Madam Speaker, member for Fonyi Prefect mentioned accident is too much. And I want Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education and Ministry of Works and Interior. Our school, Pachonki, our school, the population is very high. You don't just wait until something happens and you want to do it. We are warning. Children are there. They always cross. Let them put, speed bump is there, but it's far from the school. Let them put something there. So that any driver that is coming will definitely see, Madam Speaker, will know that there is something. Just last week, there was an accident there. Let them discuss how best they can minimize, in fact, not minimize, stop. To stop it, not minimize, to stop it completely. Because when there is something, the reckless drivers will know that if I go, I will see this. You know, if the driver see that if I go, I will die, the driver will not go. But if there is nothing there, the driver will go. So let them at least put something there, Madam Speaker. Health, Madam Speaker. You know, we CRR not, we are in a serious disadvantage because the only major hospital is Bansang. It's Bansang. Madam Speaker, to cross, how worried you are if you reach to a river and there is nothing there, you must stop. That's why we always cry. And that ferry is not in good condition. Now we are still pulling. That's why we always cry. Our health center at Karantaba, Madam Speaker, the minister should at least look at that and put more competent nurses in that. And there is another health post also, Same Medina. I wrote several letters. The minister knows, and the other minister knows. I have all those letters with me, Madam Speaker. This health post that I'm talking, Same Medina, there are about 15 villages around. All those villages come to that health post. But there is only one nurse there. And sometimes you go there, you meet about 5 or 10 women delivering. Pachonki alone is very populated, Madam Speaker. Only one knows when he travels. And I have been complaining that, Honorable Minister, please do that. Give us another competent nurse so that if he travels, because any patient that we are going to refer, we refer it to Karantaba. That place now serves as a referral place. We refer them to Karantaba. But if that nurse is not there, and he travels, or he is sick, who will come to help us? I think you will consider. And they have an ambulance. They are paying their own driver. They are the one maintaining that ambulance. Madam Speaker, those series of letters before him and the other minister, those letters are there. And those copies are still with me. Any letter I wrote, I have my copy. You know, the reason why we always talk is that we know that development cannot be done like that. But it has to be done step by step, step by step. We want more nurses. Madam Speaker, Ministry of Works. You know, in those days, I used to stood here and say, Kaleng, 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 Kaleng. But now you don't hear me saying Kaleng, Kaleng. I don't say Kaleng, Kaleng, because the problem has solved now. So I must thank Ministry of Works. But still, Madam Speaker, we have many feeder roads, many feeder roads in Sami, which are of importance, because most of the villages are inside. Yeah, most of the villages are inside, like Lamenkoto to Kunting and other areas, the Jamalis. And I want the health energy minister to update me about our electricity. I want him to update me. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Much Honorable Member for Nyamina West.
Thank you very much, Ma. First of all, I have to join my colleagues in the preaching of peace and stability in this nation. Since I am a Gambian and a law-abiding, and I love peace for myself, for my family, and for the nation, and for the sub-region, and for the whole country. But then, this peace we are calling for cannot be earned in the absence of respect, our customs and values. I will attest to that, yes, religion is a contributor, but I will also recommend our customs, traditions, and values to be preserved. Allowing these customs and values to fade will cost us a lot. And one of them is respect for elders, respect for your colleagues, and even respect for your young ones. I can remember our parents, when going out, they usually tell us that if you go out, meeting your father's mate, treat him as your father. If you meet your mother's mate, treat her as your mother. Likewise, your brother and your uncle, and so on and so forth. And if we are not observing this, we are not transferring this, or we are not practicing this, then how will the future be like in this country? Because it means then we will not pass it to our children, which is very important. One of the things that European countries admire us most is not only our sun or the fertile land, but it's the peace and harmony and these values, traditions that we have. So we must cherish them to live together peacefully and harmoniously. Now I come to issues in hand. I have to admit my gratitude to the Minister of Basic Education, and in this platform I will announce that Nyamina West, since colonial time, we've never got a high school, but in September, inshallah, 2021, we will start with grade 10 in high school at Nyamina West. So I have to thank the Minister. And come to electricity, I have done a lot with the Minister. There was, last time I asked him here a question, he made mention some names in Nyamina West that will benefit in the project to come. But I have to just send this signal to him that in Mandinka, I will come back to Mandinka. Konkoto ni kaya ko taila buloku. So, meo kile kan. Nyamina West, one of my MPs here mentioned
for the time being, until Honorable Woolley West and Basse's issues are sorted out as far as the language is concerned, let us maintain the English language so that we'll all understand.
I think we have to address that quickly. We have to cherish our languages. All right. So, reflecting to Honorable Magases, he said that Basse in the Ramadan were enjoying electricity 24 hours. And now that they are enjoying it 19 hours. But I will tell this August gathering that Nyamina, since colonial time to independent, we are enjoying electricity 0 hours. Well, that is okay for the Minister. I will just be brief because I am so much emotional after involving in an accident, and I lost lives in the accident. One of my childhood friends also, Mamadou Diallo, whom we lost in USA. I received the body last Thursday and he was laid to rest in Nyamina. So I'll be so brief. When you come to health, Honorable Minister, I told you the other time that Nyamina West throughout never benefited to a major health center. We only have a health post that is like primary health care. And now that we are begging you, or we are flowing you, we are requesting whatsoever, we are pleading for a major health center, for the Nana health post to be transformed to a major health center. We are depending on Dankunku, and that I think our address is not being understood by the government. Many government technicians that I encountered with always refer me to Dankunku or Kudang, which is Dankunku, Nyamina, Dankunku, and then Kudang is Nyamina East. So meaning all our locations are being taken to these two places. We are depending on Samba Jallo's health center so much that they are also overloaded. And in that note, if you would help us with our own health center in Nana, we'll be very much grateful. To that note, also issue of the house rent is definitely a concern. We are sitting with the public, and most of these things are pushed to us. The traffic is an other issue, and then they already dialected on these things. NAWEC is a concern. So many people have come to complain that water does not come during the day. During the night, water comes. Most of us don't fetch water, and we are receiving fat bills. So, please, Honorable Minister, this is a case for concern. The other issue is the GSM communication. What is Pura's responsibility? Are they doing their job? So this is a question and cause of concern for people within the communities. Then finally, the Minister of Works, someone mentioned here that Basse are hoping for an airport, but Nyamena West in return, we are inviting the Honorable Minister for Works through ports to come. We can harbor a port, the second port in the Gambia. Nyamena West can harbor the second ports in the Gambia. And yes, so I will refer you to the Google map. You go through, see the River Gambia. The River Gambia is as wide as can accommodate some of his vessels up to Nyamena West, where the river now splits to the right hand, the Sofa Nyama Bolong, and the other end goes to the Sanjal area. And if you look at the map carefully, where you have the mouth of the river, where they split, is very wide and can accommodate the second ports in the Gambia. So we are hoping him to come and see. We will accommodate him, and then I know that will also solve my problem on the road networks. And I will also assure him that the Nana projects on the river road construction has already started. A highway road, that is a feeder road. This how to call it, the gravel road from the Malikunda Johnson, which is the highway to Dankunku, to the river mouth, which where I am inviting him. So in short, I want to stop here. I am grieved these days, and I want the Honorable Speaker to join me and then allow the House to give 1 minute silence to pray for those who lost their lives, including my friend who lost his life in the US. Thank you. Ma.
I lost my sister-in-law, but I am here. So, as I said, we are all human beings and we have families. Maybe we just make a joint prayer for all departed souls. We can just observe a minute silence for everybody who lost a dear person. Only this morning I saw that Honorable, what's his name? Sane Mentereng also lost his niece, but thank you very much. Thank you. May their souls rest in perfect peace. Honorable Member for Banjul North.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I am almost giving up for something I hoped for. But it appears that the window of opportunity is closing, if it has not already shut. And that is with regards to the Constitution for the Third Republic. Section 226 of the Constitution provides for alteration of this Constitution, and it stipulates period. I was hoping that before the end of this second ordinary session, something would have been done in terms of salvaging the process. I have seen that the enthusiasm is waning from those who should have been pushing this, most especially those in this hallowed chamber, as one of the members often refers this August Assembly. After having spent more than $16 million on the project that was going to set the stage for this country to move into the future with a constitution that addresses the quest for a dispensation that would provide good governance, promote the welfare of the population, and ensure the participation of all. I did ask a parliamentary question, and the response was given, and hopes we are also, or promises we have made, that efforts will be made to come back. But now we are almost at the end of the session, and if we are to wait for the third ordinary session, the requirements for having 3 months after the publication in the Gazette would not allow us to have a constitution before the commencement of the next electoral cycle, which is the 4th of December, that when we're having our presidential election. So that's that. I have given up. And so is those Gambians who were really yearning for a second republic constitution. I don't know what the executive is thinking, whether they, doing homework to come back. I'm not completely giving up, but this is where we are. With regards to Section 39 on franchise, it states that the right to vote and be registered. Section 39, subsection 1 states, every citizen of the Gambia, being 18 years or older and of sound mind, shall have the right to vote for the purpose of elections of a president and members of the National Assembly, and shall be entitled to be registered as a voter in a National Assembly constituency for that purpose. I believe that this provision is enough to allow Gambians in the diaspora to be registered and to vote. Even if it requires this National Assembly encouraging the executive to come up with a supplementary appropriation bill to provide for the resources Gambians in the diaspora deserve to participate in the electoral process of this country. And this constitution provides for that. There is no Gambian who does not come from a part of this country. And there is no part of this country that is not part of a constituency. So this provision is really enough for us to compel the IEC to make provision, even start the process of registering Gambians in diaspora so that they will vote. They can even vote whilst they are in those countries outside of the Gambia. Other countries are doing it. Why not Gambia? Other countries that are neighboring Gambia, they are doing it. Their citizens outside of their country are participating in elections. I may understand National Assembly Council elections may be a challenge, but for presidential, this is decisive. They have a right to decide who they would want to be entrusted with the mandate to serve in that capacity as President of the Republic of the Gambia. It is not late. I am imploring the executive and National Assembly members, we should be speaking out to start the process. An extraordinary session can be convened to deal with those issues, such as allocating resources to the IEC to register Gambians in the diaspora, and also to make provision for them to participate in elections during the presidential elections in December. There is no excuse, as far as I'm concerned. If it is resources, we can allocate it. If it is the law, it has already been provided for. They should not allow expediency
I don't know whatever excuse to stand on the way. Gambians in the diaspora should be registered to participate in elections. With regards to the ongoing registration exercise, there are cases that are before the court, so one is not supposed to make any pronouncement, rather, in order not to subjudice what is before the courts. But I believe the IEC should really gather its act and ensure that fair play and not expediency. Ensure that the law and not expediency would dictate what they are doing. As I said, I cannot make any further pronouncement on it because some of the issues that I really wanted to raise before this assembly are now before the courts. On the, I don't know whether environmental impact assessment has been done, but I have seen that. In fact, before that, I have raised a parliamentary question here directed to the Minister of Works and Infrastructure regarding the durability of the Brenton Bridge that we all use every time we're coming to Banjul or we're going out of Banjul. It was built in the 80s and was ready around that time, mid-80s. Sometimes the lifespan is 50, I don't know what was the lifespan given, but given the volume of traffic, with the ports here, the heavy traffic that passes through on the bridge on a daily basis, I am convinced that wear and tear is accelerated. Therefore, it has reduced the lifespan. Whatever lifespan it must have given to the bridge has reduced it. But the minister assured me that they do regular inspections as far as the bridge is concerned. But the concern is, I have seen sand mining taking place. There is siltation when you are going on the right side. You can see that there is sand deposited on the mouth. What connects it from the sea? In fact, this is the mouth of the ocean. At the end bridge, what you see there is the ocean, Atlantic Ocean. That's the mouth of River Gambia. And I don't know, I believe that that sand is really stopping the pressure on the bridge, the water that goes under the bridge. And its impact, it's impacting on the structure, on the solidity. So if that sand is removed there, would it not allow the flow to be faster, the volume, the pressure on the bridge, on the stands, or the pillars? So this is a matter of concern, definitely, as far as I'm concerned. And not only that, the ecology of the area. Because you have the inland, and as I understand, fish is bred there, the natural breeding ground. If you expose it, and it has taken time. Have they conducted any study? The Minister of the Environment is here, the Minister of Fisheries is here, Works is not here, unfortunately. But has there been any study done as to where the sand that is deposited there is coming from? And if you remove it, what impact would it have? I'm very interested in knowing whether EIA was done before they started mining. I want assurance. If that is done, then that's fine. But if it's not, then we need to revisit it. Removing the sand that is there might have serious consequences if the thorough studies, the proper studies were not done. With regards to the police, the Inspector General, the Minister of the Interior is not here, but I have seen a lot of interference of the police with regards to civil cases. They've been reporting to me. I have so many cases reported to me. That are civil matters, civil cases, before the police, and there is purported interference. If it is civil matter, it can be settled at the courts. What the police can do is to administer whatever the courts may have decided on such cases. And I want to narrate a case, and this is heart-rending. There was a case in one of the stations, I'm not going to name the station, between two Gambians, two people, and it's death. I owe you. The matter was before the courts. The police wanted me to appear before the courts. I'm not available at the material time. But there were sureties, two sureties. One of them is the mother of one of them, the one who owed the debtor. The mother and the other surety were taken to police and then dumped in a cell. Dumped in a cell. I was called, I went there. And I went there, they removed them from the cell. And this woman was telling me that I have never been to police station. I have never taken anyone to the police, and I've never been taken before the police. In other words, she was telling me that she is not a criminal. And she was about to collapse there in my presence. We had to help her, fan her, give her water to recover, to resuscitate. 3 days later, she passed away because of. So I think the authorities, particularly the Minister of the Interior, needs to really prevail on the police that if they have such cases, let them leave it to pan out in the courts. Let the courts settle it. I'm not saying that authorities should not be invited to the police so that they'll be held at the police, but they are sureties. They are not criminals. They have not committed any crime to be dumped in a cell. I am an advocate of policy reform, security reform. I'm an advocate of law reforms. I know we have not yet reformed our laws. A minute. Okay, on the final note, I want to implore on these honorable members that we have to take the lead. We have to make our pronouncements loud and clear. The unity of this Gambia is sacrosanct. It is our duty to ensure that people are united. We are Gambians around Gambia. It would be criminal for any political leader, any political activist to promote disunity in this country. If we are not eradicating poverty, our duty, particularly as representatives, is to ensure that the welfare of the people is promoted, their rights are protected, but not to divide them. But what we are seeing, it is election year. And election year does not mean matter of life and death for any person who is seeking political office. It's not a birthright. That is for the people to decide. You have a right to present your case, present your program, and leave them to decide. It's not a birthright. So you have no right to impose yourself on the people. It is, as I said, it would be criminal for any politician, whether a political party leader, a representative of the people, to promote disunity, to promote incitement, to promote condone. Thank you.
Yes, I know the reason it's time. Thank you. It's almost 2:45. We have 15 minutes. Maybe we can take one more before we suspend and go for a short break. Nyamina East, is not around. The honorable member for Nyani.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for giving me the floor. I first of all ask this Assembly, for the past 2-3 years, this adjournment debate has been happening. And we have all the time given our messages to the ministries, but I think almost 90% is not yet solved. But notwithstanding, as the former speakers have already said, I think there are some infrastructures which have been built, and I think those ones are done by MRC Holland Foundation. So we still appeal to the government to speed it up and to double up and to make sure that at least some of our needs have been addressed. There was a meeting which has been held by the president when he was on his tour. Most of my communities were requesting some of their needs, which I think that is part of my function here, to bring that messages to these chambers so that the ministers can hear about what have been told by my, my people. First of all, my concern goes on the health, and in fact, when most of my communities were appealing for the Kuntaur Hospital to be upgraded, in fact, it is upgraded, but there is a very important theater or a very big theater in that hospital, but not under use. So I have written parliamentary questions. I have even spoke at that meeting about that theater, but still not avail. Drugs also is a problem at Kuntaur Hospital. Very rare you go there, you find essential drugs. There is a clinic at Wasu. I think most of the communities goes there because they rely on that place more than the hospital. Maybe the hospital, they even go there for prescription, but they cannot able to get medicine in that facilities. The other one is if the minister can add another vehicle for the hospital, because most of the time, if the ambulance has a referral to Bansang, they will normally engage me for me to give them my vehicles so that they can go outside clinic to the various clinic centers. So I'm appealing the minister to consider Kuntaur Hospital for more drugs and another additional vehicle. On the side of education, I think for my constituency, Nyani is one of the most unfortunate schools which are within my constituency. The facilities are now dilapidating. No fences in most of the schools in my constituency. And I think this also, I have even sent this parliamentary question to the Minister of Upper and Basic Secondary School, but yet still there is no possibilities, much more in Kuntaur Upper Basic. There is a serious lack of structures in that particular school, that is Kuntaur Fulakunda, and even Barajali, Madina, and most of my schools, none of these schools you can find that there is a very structured fences in those schools for security. The other area is about works, that is the feeder roads, and even the standard road. As I said, government is sidelighting Nyani. I don't think they have done a lot in Nyani constituency. Once the president once went to Dingirai and Ndawen, promised them that he will construct a road for them from Dingirai to Ndawen, but yet still no road. All these roads which have been mentioned in all other areas, Nyani is not part of it. So I think, Madam Speaker, the government should also consider Nyani, because most of these important roads is from Dingirai to Ngunta via Saramalo and Kataba, Kataba Abdundau, Palang to Kataba Sering, Madina Lamin Kante to Saramalo, Jakaba Kayai Jarumekuta, Salikenye, Manna via Jarmekoto, so that the road can reach to the highway between Janjambure and Farafenya Road. If you go to the ferries, for almost 2 years now, in fact, I have put that also in my parliamentary questions, almost 2 years now, the ferry at Barjali is not functioning. Madam Speaker, in fact, I once called the manager to consider the Barajal ferry. And if possible, the Kuntal Yida also, if you can have a ferry there, it can be an easy access to cross from Kuntal to Kudang, then to Soma. Then from Kuntal also via Barajali to Brikama Bar. I mentioned to him that at least as far as these places, we may expect ferries at that crossing point. The terminals are already been dilapidated. So why not by now, before the ferries will be coming, then so that they can able to make those places before ferries arrive there. And in most of the ferry terminals, those are the problem, the crossing points. The ramps are already not functioning, especially in Kuntal crossing point. For the meantime, there is no ferry, but at least there are some boats which are crossing there. And as far as it can be their social corporate, so that they can able to make those terminals, so that it can be an easy access or easy crossing for the boats which are there for crossing. Madam Speaker, on the side of communication, the former previous speakers have already said it. The GSM, like communication sector in Saramalau, Katabal is very poor. Still now, if you go there, you have to hang your mobile phone so that you can get access to communication. So, and part of Kayai and other part of my communities. If the communication minister can assist so that today, the errand of communication, at least everybody should have access to communication. My first deliberation here, when I came to these chambers, is about the hippos. And still now, I'm advocating and I'm getting complaints from my people that without addressing these hippo problems, forget it. You will not have any harvest. One of my colleagues has already mentioned it, that it has affected him up to the far end of Woodley East. But I can tell you that in my community, in fact, now they are even making theater on these hippos. They will arrange agriculture, bringing seed to the communities. Community will cultivate those seeds. At the end of the day, hippos will clear everything. And as I can tell you, if the government didn't address these hippos, we may not expect any harvest on the side of rice cultivation. So, Madam Speaker, on the side of electricity, I once said it here, our former president who came from Barajali, they are putting almost millions on his grave here, is acknowledged, but Sukuta has an electricity. Barajali is not benefiting electricity. If the Minister of Energy can assist as the former president, and we are making some good or spending more money on his museum here, on his graveyard here, I think the Minister of Energy can also try to extend electricity. The former president, when he was alive, every compound he put a solar panel there. But as we all know now, those solar panels are not functioning much, and I'm appealing to the energy minister so that the electricity is stopped at Sukuta. It's just about few kilometers to reach to Barajali Tenda and Barajali Shuba. So if the minister can consider Barajali also to have electricity. So the other one is sending this message to everybody, as we are almost the elderly people here. We say, let's try to maintain peace. Let's say no to tribalism, no to insult. If you are matured, I don't think one should try to start insulting. So, Madam Speaker, The former speaker also said about this illegal registration. Here we all know what will always bring a problem. You can get an ID card, you can get a birth certificate without the unknowing of your people whom you are staying with. But as far as voter registration is concerned, we know each other. You know that you are not a citizen. You know how you obtain that, the other documents. It's left with you. But if you reach in the midst of your community, obviously they know that you are not a citizen. This will bring a chaos. Why not? This is simple. If you are not a citizen, don't join. Don't find a voter register. So why should you go there? Just to maintain peace. You know that particular person is not a citizen. Why bring him to find an attestation? So this bringing the whole problem within us. We know each other. You know you are not a Gambia. Why coming to the voter registration and find you are to be registered? So, Madam Speaker, this is my word to the whole chambers and the whole community. Let's try to maintain peace. If there is no peace, we cannot sit here. If there is no peace, even pray, we tend to forget it because you will not have that peace to have your prayers. So on that note, Madam Speaker, time to take my seat.
Thank you. Thank you very much, honorable members. I think this is a convenient time for us to suspend the sitting, and we resume. It's 3 o'clock. We resume at 4 o'clock. I have an announcement that earlier on I did indicate that I am equally bereaved. I should have been at the funeral since morning, but I said I would come, preside, and then allow honorable members to either allow the minority leader to take over or you elect somebody else amongst yourselves to take over whilst I go, because the majority leader moved the motion for the adjournment and he needs to respond to some of the issues. So if there is no objection to that from honorable members, I would propose that honorable minority leader takes over when we come from lunch. Thank you. Thank you very much. So we suspend and come back at 4 o'clock. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. That's the first half of the adjournment debate. You can see all the ministers are here listening to the concern raised by National Assembly members. Adjournment debate gives opportunity to the National Assembly members to raise concerns that are affecting their constituency or the country at large, and ministers will be given the opportunity to respond to concerns that have been raised by the National Assembly members. So we are going for a break, and it will continue with other members that have not taken the floor to raise some issues of national concern and more of their constituency. So I will be back at 4 o'clock. Bye from me. Kex.